This week on the Big Ten Team Rivalry Show, Penn State survives a sneak attack from the Hoosiers. The West Division is in a four-way tie because they wouldn't have it any other way. And despite massive outcry from the Ohio State fan base, Michigan returns. Mac, am I missing anything?
Nope. Literally nothing of consequence happened today, especially in Iowa.
All of this and more on the Big Ten Team Rivalry Show.
First up, we've got Penn State, Illinois. We're going to go through each of the games. Well, we got three games. First up, Penn State, Illinois. We got 5 minutes for each game.
Looking for some bigger prey. They're hungry for that bigger win, and this could be it if they can take down Penn State. I said, nevertheless. Why did I say I said?
The former third string, now second string quarterback. And people on Twitter are talking. Should he be the starter now?
Welcome to the Big Ten Team Rivalry Show. I am Clifford Wag the Dog Richardson. That's dog as in D-A-W-G, data analyst with grit for the uninitiated. With me, as always, is the commentator extraordinaire, the people's prognosticator, the angry pigskin himself, Mackenzie. How's it going, Mac?
Better than Brian Ferentz.
I think everybody's doing better than Brian Ferentz right now, except maybe Harbaugh. I don't know. Thank you to all of our subscribers, and thank you to everyone watching. Thank you to the handful of you and all of those who have been watching our latest videos and subscribing to our channel. I really appreciate that. It's been a lot of fun seeing your comments. We are a father and son team in a never-ending pursuit to make football fun again, with oddball statistics and an enthusiasm unknown to mankind for personal bias, with every review, preview, and pick. Plus, our own friendly little rivalry going on between the two of us. If you enjoy watching football with your family, this is the channel for you. Now, it's time for the rundown.
When do you need that rundown by?
As soon as possible.
Okay.
Just get it right.
Yeah, we're going to dive in.
In this week's rundown, we're looking at Week 9 ranked games. Our first game is Indiana at number 10, Penn State. Now, Indiana came to play. We're talking about a top 10 team, Penn State, nearly getting upset by an unranked 2-5 Indiana. I don't know how that happens. Did Indiana make that much of a turnaround, or is Penn State losing their edge, Mac? What do you think?
Well, I said it at the beginning of the season. I've said it a few times since then, and I'll say it again now, and I'll say it loud for the people in the back. Penn State was overrated, and they still probably are, even though they're lesser rated now than they were before Ohio State. Okay, so I actually saw, I got to look this up real quick, but Penn State actually gained a spot or something like that in the AP poll after barely beating Indiana. Like, really? But whatever.
Yeah, they moved back up to 9.
That's insane. That's really stupid. But whatever. I'll get to that in a second. So, yeah, I mean, Penn State barely avoided exactly what I said could happen last week, that being a potential collapse at the hands of Indiana. Drew Allar looked shaky at best yet again and threw his first career interception, which gave Indiana the ball like really deep in Penn State's red zone. But then Tom Allen had to go all scared and followed that up with some of the most pedestrian play calling I've ever seen. So I'll really never just understand why coaches go so aggressive in their play calling all game long just to then like wet their pants as soon as they have a chance at actually winning. So Indiana called plays like they were going for the tie rather than the actual win, and that's why they lost. But the fact that they were in this game late at all anyway just tells you what I knew all along, but no one wanted to listen. It was that Penn State was overrated, and it only took time to realize that. And now here we are.
Yeah, you know what? And I noticed that too, that all of a sudden Indiana got real conservative. I wonder if they figured out they got to a certain point and they weren't going to make it any further against Penn State and just decided, all right, let's not let anybody get hurt and just pull back and finish the game.
Why though?
I don't know why you would do that, but I can't explain it any other way that because it was noticeable. Their play calling shifted just all of a sudden.
I mean, the only thing that I can think of is that they had a running game. They had a run game actually that last that last touchdown that they scored was set up pretty well by the run game. And so I thought maybe they were just trying to go back to that. But as soon as they got to like, I think it was like 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, something like that, and they ran the ball again. What? You're going to need to throw a pass. And honestly, they should have thrown a pass probably 3 times there. And then one of them should have been for the end zone. They should have gone for the jugular. They should have gone for the throat with one of those plays, but they didn't. And that's what I mean, is that they just, I don't understand why teams do that. And Tom Allen, especially, like as soon as they have a chance to win the game, they're just kind of like, oh, we're scared now.
Right.
That's
and it's, yeah, like you said, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense that Penn State actually gained a spot in the AP because of that, but they did, and here we are. Our next game is number 3 Ohio State at Wisconsin. Just like Indiana, Wisconsin came to play, but this one obviously looked a little bit different. Wisconsin did manage to go toe-to-toe with Ohio State for a lot of this game, but 3 turnovers from the Buckeyes. Kyle McCord gets injured. It's a low-scoring game, but ultimately Ohio State does win by 14 points. I haven't yet heard about McCord's status. I'm sorry, I did hear about McCord's status. He is supposed to be playing this week, but will he be at 100%? I don't know, and I don't know what that means for Ohio State. But Wisconsin just went up against the number 3 team in the country, and it didn't look much different than the Penn State game against Indiana. What is going on with Ohio State?
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I didn't know that about McCord. I knew he was injured. I saw there was a video of him leaving Wisconsin Stadium wearing a boot of some kind.
Yeah.
And
limping.
So yeah, like bad too.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I guess I'm not entirely sure how severe that injury is, but I guess if they're planning on him playing this weekend, maybe it wasn't that bad. Or
well, and consider too, it's Monday. Yeah. And they usually say like, no, I'm pretty sure he'll be fine. I'm pretty sure he'll be fine. And then Thursday afternoon rolls around. He's out for 2 weeks.
Oh crap.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see.
If he's out, who's their 3rd string quarterback? Because Devin Brown's out for the season. Their 2nd string quarterback is out for the season. Oh, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah. So who do they got behind McCord now?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll just go through my notes real quick, but that's the real question. So if McCord is playing, if he does play, depending on how severe the injury is, it could upset his throwing rhythm. He's not exactly a mobile quarterback as it is, which Ohio State fans are not used to, but he's not a mobile quarterback. So I'm thinking the worst it does is probably disrupt his throwing rhythm. I feel like he's probably going to be okay though. But like my thing is that if like the Ohio State's O-line is not very good, and if he's already injured and he takes a big hit against Rutgers, who has a pretty good pass rush, So if he can't get the ball out on time, if the O-line can't block, he could be in trouble. I think Ohio State's defense is obviously keeping them firmly in every game, but I don't know. I mean, Wisconsin had a chance to lead in this game in the second half and totally blew it themselves. So Ohio State kind of dodged one here, and they might be in trouble, especially if McCord is actually as injured as we think he could be.
Yeah, I was surprised that the fact that Ohio State won by 14 points, I think, is one of those games where you say the score doesn't accurately reflect the game. Because Wisconsin held tight to them for... I don't remember exactly, but it seemed like going into the 3rd quarter, it was still a close game.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. But also with McCord, he's a fairly big guy, isn't he?
I think so. What is he, like 6'2", 220? Maybe?
I thought so. I mean, he's bigger than the average quarterback. He's a lot bigger than like JJ, and he's bigger than Drew Allar.
I was really close.
Yeah.
6'3", 215.
Okay, yeah, so he's a big guy, which probably explains why he's not all that mobile, because he doesn't necessarily have to be. He can take the hits, which again is kind of strange given that he is now injured, or at least wounded.
Right. Well, it only takes
if he comes back or not.
it only takes one bad play too. I mean, one wrong move and you can be done for your career, honestly. I mean, there are some players that have been totally fine and then they get hit the wrong way and they can't ever play football again.
Right. Well, I hope he's okay. I hope he's back for next week.
Yeah.
You know what separates the winners from the losers, kid?
The score.
All right, in this segment, we go over our picks from last week to see how we're doing on our own little challenge to each other. I think so far Mac is winning. And you know what? Again, I forgot to get the leaderboard going. We got to do that before the end of the season so we can actually see what's happening. In the meantime, Mac, take us through last week's picks. How did we do?
Oh, yeah, we only have up to week 8 or week 7. So we got to figure out who's winning this.
In the leaderboard, yeah. Who knows? It's a mystery. Mac is winning. Don't kid yourself.
I know. We all know. We know. Yeah. All right. So let's go through these picks real quick. So let's start off with the bad news. The bad news is that we both thought Maryland was going to do better than they did.
Yeah.
But the good news is that
I got them real close, but I still thought they would win.
Well, yeah, okay, that's fair. That is fair. That's fair. Okay, but whatever. I mean, the good news is that Northwestern is kind of coming back.
Yeah.
You know? If the top 4 teams in the West all take one more loss, which, hey, West is really stupid. They could be back in it. So who knows, eh? Yeah.
Oh, hey,
so that was what?
Quick side note, though, a Northwestern. So normally, what's his name? Braun?
Yeah.
The coach of Northwestern. Braun is usually, he does those, the interviews, and he's just like, yeah, our team just, we're really excited. We're looking forward to what we can do this season. And excitement is the way I would describe this team. Just really, really excited. That's him. That's really him. That's what he does. But then at the Maryland game, Northwestern was either after a pick or a touchdown, and he is jumping around and hollering like a madman. It was crazy. I was like, all right, that's the attitude you need, Mr. Braun. We need more of that.
Drink some coffee before the press conferences. Jeez. Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, that was my worst pick because I thought, like all of America, that Maryland wasn't going to wet their pants and lose this game, but they did. So hardy har har. Your worst call was Penn State.
Yeah.
You called 42-3. Penn State won 33-24. I don't know how that wasn't my worst call, except for the fact that I thought Maryland was going to, whatever. We talked about that. Anyway.
Indiana almost coming off the top rope there.
Yeah, Indiana. You had your shot, man. What'd you do? You blew it. That's what you did.
Yep.
In any case, my best call was actually Michigan State at Minnesota. I called 24-14 Minnesota. Minnesota won 27-12. So cool beans there.
Nice. And got it within 5 points. Nice job.
Yeah. Not bad. Not bad. So then your best call was Ohio State at Wisconsin. You called Ohio State 28-14. The actual score was 24-10. So you were 8 points off there. So nice work there. Not bad at all.
Hey, you got Wisconsin dead on. Nice job.
I did. Oh, I did. Look at that. How about that? Okay. Didn't really do a whole lot for me, but whatever. I guess. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, yeah. So then you won the week 69-71. Because remember, in this game, you got to score fewer points. It's like golf.
Just squeaked.
There you go. Squeaked.
Squeak.
And those are the picks.
Hey, let's talk about our favorite team, Iowa.
A good reporter doesn't get great stories, Jimmy.
A good reporter makes them great.
Due to a recent situation, a Big Ten coach has resigned. Brian Ferentz of Iowa. Brian Ferentz of Iowa has resigned. He had a deal going on with Iowa where if he scored 325 points over 12 games, they would keep him. And if he didn't score 325 points over 12 games, they would let him go because he hasn't done very well as an offensive coordinator at Iowa over the last 2 years, 3 years?
Sure.
Sure. Okay.
How long has Iowa not been able to score more than 10 points a game?
Exactly. He's at he's at 156 points for 8 games right now, leaving them needing 42 points per game for the last 4 games. And if you haven't been keeping track, that is significant, a significant number of points that they need. The real question here is, if he is not keeping up his end of the bargain, and if Iowa is not scoring the points they need, why are they keeping him for the rest of the season? The only thing I can come up with is that they want to have a dual retirement party for Brian and Kirk. What do you think's going on, Mac?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think that, with the cost of party supplies, cost of everything these days has just gone way up, So I completely understand that, they want to throw one party. It's just efficient. It's unlike his offense. It's just way more efficient,
way more efficient.
And
that way they can the Ferentz family can just ride off into the Iowa cornfield sunset, past the barns, past the pig farm.
Yeah.
Right out there.
Right past the cornfield. Right past there. Look, okay. So Brian Ferentz, I every time I watch an Iowa game, my heart just sinks. Okay? And this is sad. A guy's losing his job. We're never happy about that. I imagine a lot of people in Iowa are probably pretty happy about that. And let's be honest, the guy's probably a millionaire, so he's probably going to be okay. That being said, I heard, and I cannot verify this, that he has NFL experience. So I feel like deep down, there's a guy that knows football. And you know what he needs? Is to be picked up by the Nick Saban School for Coaching Failures and to be rehabilitated by the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Saban, the football savant.
Are we talking about Alabama Nick Saban or Michigan State Nick Saban?
Alabama. What?
Well, remember, Nick Saban was at Michigan State for 2 really bad years. Not really bad.
Yes.
2 fairly bad years.
Yeah,
I have it on
know.
good authority that State fans do not like Nick Saban for that very reason.
Good. I don't like State fans. I like Nick Saban. I don't like them, though. I don't like State fans. Whatever. But anyway, all right. So more to a serious point, and then we can move off of this because it's dumb. This just goes to show you, nepotism is never the answer, kids. Never. They always tell you, never go into business with your friends or your family because it never ends well, and this is why. So Brian, fortunately for him, didn't report to Kirk, which is good because that would have been really awkward. He reported to the interim athletic director, and it was she who broke the news. Okay. But the news is not that he's fired or anything like that. It's just that he's not returning for not meeting this 325 goal. But what would be hilarious is if the offense just exploded the rest of the season and they destroyed everybody on their way to the Big Ten championship game, which they are still in play for because the West Division is still that stupid.
It's still on a 4-way tie between Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska, and Wisconsin. All are 3-2.
Will he be the first coach ever to get fired for making a championship game?
He could be. And I should say 3-2 in the division, not in the conference. But yeah, that's crazy. I feel the need to point this out, though, in the reference to nepotism. That logo on your shirt there?
Yeah.
I believe there's more than one Harbaugh working on the Michigan football team.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, fine. So Brian Ferentz, will he be there? I don't remember. I thought I saw this. Will he be there through the bowl game then? Because they are bowl eligible, I believe.
Yes.
He will be there through the bowl game. So he's resigned. Yes. He quit. He doesn't really want to be there anymore. They're going to keep him through the bowl game.
He has no incentive to try.
No
Not
incentive
that
at all.
Not that him not trying is going to be all that different from him trying, probably. But
Yep. It would be funny though. I think you're right though, because when you give up like that, the pressure is off, and he might just say like, "Let's try this, let's try that," and you're right. They might just end up walking away with these last 4 games and just killing it.
I mean, yeah. Well, okay. So let's say that did happen. Would they take him back?
I'm afraid they probably would, and they probably make him head coach, and then next year would be worse. Because then he would start trying again, only to find out that he's trying too hard, and they lose all of their games. Not all of their games. It's Iowa. They're not going to lose all of their games, but...
So, okay, really what they should do then is like, okay, so he just goes all out the rest of this season and just, let's try this, let's try that. And they win every game by 40 points. Okay. Iowa then says, all right, well, that was crazy. How about you be head coach? But here's the thing. They need to tell him that no matter what happens, he will never be fired. Keep the pressure off.
No pressure at all.
And
Brian, just do whatever you want, man.
Iowa will rattle off like 3 national championships in a row, Georgia style, and then next time, before you know it, wow, I just stammered through like 5 different words. I think maybe, I don't know, I died for a second there. But then all of a sudden, Brian Ferentz is the head coach of the New England Patriots because Belichick is probably, I mean, he's very old. But anyway. Mark my words.
Mark my
5 years from 5 years from now, head coach of the New England Patriots, Brian Ferentz.
You heard it here first.
Welcome! We are here to destroy you!
This is the coin toss segment of our show where we flip a coin to determine who gets to pick the away teams versus the home teams. Depending on which ones you pick, you get bonus points on that scoreboard pick system that we showed you earlier. It really does help. Mac has actually won a couple of weekends just on that bonus points. So here we are again. Mac, you get to call it. Do you want heads or tails?
Wait, I called it last week.
Yeah, but I'm flipping it. So you got to call it.
Oh, all right. Well, you should be able to call it at some point. That's not
the flipper
fair.
doesn't call. The flipper flips and the flippy calls. I'm the flipper. You're the flippy.
I prefer to
flip
not
and
be
pick it.
flipped. Tails.
Tails. All right, ready? Here we go.
Come on, Tails. Come on.
And it's
come
heads.
On.
Yay.
That's the first time I've lost.
That is the first time you lost. I want the away teams. I already figured this out. I researched it. I want the away teams.
Crap. You know, that means you're picking
right.
against Michigan.
I know. All right, let's take some short minute here to do some intense research, and we'll come back with our picks.
What's your prediction for the fight, then?
Pain.
In this segment, we look at our picks for the ranked games coming up, and we have 3 ranked games coming up. Number 3, Ohio State at Rutgers. Number 9, Penn State at Maryland. And Purdue at number 2, Michigan. We each get 1 minute to justify our pick, and you, the viewer, get to tell us if we're right or wrong in the comments. And take all the time you want, because there's no clock on you. Mac, are you ready to take down number 9, Penn State at Maryland?
I'm so ready.
All right. I got to fix my clock because I forgot to reset it. That's the other thing I forgot to do. Remembered to flip the screen. All right, are you ready? I've got the clock ready.
I'm ready. I said I was ready, so I'm ready.
And go.
Maryland is not but a turtle flat upon its shell. It would be just like them to lose to Northwestern, the literal worst team in the Big Ten, just to then upset Penn State in their rivalry game. Well, rivalry game. I think they've won like twice in the last 20 years or some nonsense. Penn State looked shaky at best against a reeling Indiana team that really had no business being in the game late. And Maryland, well, they started this season 5-0 and looked pretty good in the first. They looked pretty good. They did. They looked pretty good in the first half against Ohio State too, which is the note that I screwed up. But then they were like, oh yeah, we're Maryland. And then self-destructed in the second half with follow-up self-destructions against Illinois and the aforementioned Wildcats. And while I would love it for Maryland to win so that Michigan can avoid a three-way tie with Ohio State and Penn State in the East Division, I don't think they're going to do that. So I'm taking Penn State 34-21.
Nice.
Thank you.
I think you only went over by about 2 seconds there.
No, I saw your finger was still up. That doesn't count.
I came in late.
What?
Sorry.
Well, that's not my fault then, is it?
All right, fine. It's not your fault. The game where the clock's
right.
made up and the points don't matter.
Nothing means anything. All right. You are on the... Are you ready?
I am ready.
He's ready. All right. Your time starts now.
This game ought to be fun, and here's why. Maryland played a better game against Indiana than Penn State did, but also they just played a worse game against Northwestern. Penn State is living in ambiguity, which is not really that hard to say. Penn State is living in ambiguity, hoping beyond hope that Ohio State and Michigan will fall apart in the next couple of weeks. They're not in control of their own destiny, but it is a familiar path for Penn State. Maryland needs one more win for a bowl game, and they're coming off a 3-game losing streak. If Maryland doesn't self-destruct, they've got a decent chance of, well, giving Penn State a run for their money. Last week, Indiana made Penn State work for the win, and I suspect Maryland will kind of do the same, but in the end, Penn State is just better. I've got the Nittany Lions 31-21.
Excellent. 8 seconds remaining. Well done.
Woot. All right. Our next game is number 3 Ohio State at Rutgers. Mac, are you ready?
I'm so ready.
And go.
All right, so for this one, I'm going to do one of those things where I say, here are all the reasons Rutgers could win, but then they won't. Okay, so they have a good pass rush. Ohio State's O-line is not so good. Okay, Rutgers' defense has actually not been bad at defending the pass. And Ohio State has like one receiver, okay? And their QB might be injured now. So Rutgers has a solid rushing attack that could keep the ball out of Ohio State's hands for a period of time. Problem is, I think Ohio State is just too strong a team to keep up with for all 4 quarters, especially for a team like Rutgers. Heck, they only got one good punch in against Michigan, and then Michigan was like, no, And that didn't end so well for them. So whatever. Anyway, I'm going to take Ohio State 35-14.
6 seconds left. Well done.
What can I say? All right, you've got 8 seconds on the clock. Hang on.
8 seconds?
Yes. All right, timer's ready. Are you
Let's
ready?
go. We're going to play the game. Oh, wait. Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. And your time starts now.
Is Kyle McCord going to play this game? Early reports say, despite the injury, he will play against Rutgers. Will it make a difference? Probably not. The Scarlet Knights are on a 2-game winning streak, but they've already lost to Michigan and Wisconsin, and the Buckeyes are probably somewhere in between those two teams. Rutgers is already 2 games up on last year with a defense that could potentially give Ohio State a little bit of trouble. But I mean, let's face facts. Really, Rutgers is not as good as Wisconsin, and even if they get the turnovers that Ohio State is likely to cough up, Rutgers probably won't be able to capitalize on them either. And I honestly don't know what else to say about this game. It's going to be fairly lopsided at some point. So I've got the Buckeyes over Rutgers 31-10.
11 seconds left, and I completely disagree with almost everything that you said.
As you should. Even if you're wrong. Which you likely are.
Fair.
Probably
no,
not.
What? No.
What? Who?
Excuse you?
When?
Excuse you? You must be stopped. Next.
Our last game is... well, not our last game. It's close to our last game. It's our last ranked game. Purdue at number 2, Michigan. Michigan has returned or will return. Mac, are you ready?
I'm so ready. It's crazy. I feel
you
like
are on the clock.
I said that for the last
What?
2. All right, whatever. Go.
All right, you're already 10 seconds down. No.
What?
You're on the clock right now. Ready, set, go.
All right, let me just say, I feel awful for Purdue. Okay, really, Michigan's anger should be taken out on Ohio State, and it will be. But you can bet they're going to be looking to do some of the stuff of nightmares to every team that they have left on their schedule, no matter who it is. Michigan is going to destroy Purdue, and in a way, that'll make you not want to watch unless you just spent the last 2 weeks listening to your team get dragged through the mud in a witch hunt that makes the Salem witch trials look well thought out. Everyone hates the NCAA until they go after your rival. Y'all are a bunch of hypocrites. Anyway, I've got Michigan ending this one early and JJ sitting early in the third quarter. Give me Michigan 56 to goose egg.
11 seconds left. Well done.
Thank you. I was getting some anger out on that one.
Oh,
All right.
Yeah, I could tell.
Yeah.
It's cathartic. It's cathartic.
It is. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, your time starts now.
Michigan is going to be playing with a vengeance now. Because when you tell players the caliber of Michigan, they can't win without cheating, it makes them real angry. And you don't want to see Michigan when they're angry. The question is, how badly will they take it out on Purdue? And yet, if Michigan is looking ahead, they probably won't pull out all the stops on Purdue because they're saving that for Penn State the following week. For Purdue's part, they lost to Ohio State 41-7, and the only reason I don't think Michigan will put as many points on the board is because they don't have to. Still, we are talking about the spoiler makers here, and if Michigan isn't careful, Purdue can upend their season, and that will make the Penn State and Ohio State games really interesting. But my guess is this game will be nearly as boring as the Bowling Green game. Sorry, Purdue. I love you guys. You're like my second favorite team, but I'm calling Michigan 42-3.
You had 5 seconds left.
Boom!
One question for you. Why are they your second favorite team?
I don't know. They're cool. That whole train thing they got going on, they drive the train around town.
That's true. Oh, they do? Really?
They do, yeah.
Oh, sweet. They've got a pretty big drum, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Biggest drum in the world.
Well,
if you don't count the one in Texas and China.
China.
Which we don't. Because we don't have to.
You think football is still fun?
Yes.
Sir.
Yes.
This is the speed round where we give our predictions for all of the non-ranked games with little to no explanation. The Big Ten is at full throttle this week. Nobody is on a bye week. Everybody is playing, so there's no byes, there's no excuses, and we're going to start with Wisconsin at Indiana. Mac? Oh, you know what? I was going to ask you what you've got, but I guess I should throw mine out there first. Wisconsin and Indiana, I don't think it's going to be too tricky. I've got Wisconsin 28, Indiana 17. What do you got?
Ooh, close to mine. Not quite. I like Wisconsin's defense, but Braylon Allen is injured, so his status is kind of up in the air. That said, I've still got Wisconsin 28-10.
Next, we have Nebraska at Michigan State. Michigan State just having all kinds of trouble this season. So I've got Nebraska 21, but I think Michigan State's going to put up a fight. I'm giving them 14.
Yeah, Nebraska kind of feels like they found something, and they're in the running for the West because, of course, they are. So I'm going to take Nebraska to continue a bit of a streak they got going on here, 31-14.
Illinois is going to march into Minnesota over their Memorial Stadium. Still, as much as I had hoped that Illinois might win the West, it doesn't look like they're even in contention anymore. So I've got Minnesota taking this one 24-21.
Everyone is in contention until they are mathematically eliminated in the West. That's just how it works.
Yep.
That being said, Minnesota's got a better chance of taking that one. So whatever. Anyway, I'm going to take the Gophers 28-14.
Last but not least, we have Iowa at Northwestern. Iowa is in contention for the West. Northwestern is putting up a massive fight this season. I think if I can get this through without stuttering any more than I already am, I'm picking Northwestern 17-14.
Wait, did you just say that because I said I was going to do that? That's not fair.
No, I didn't. I have it here. I typed it out and I didn't change it.
Wow. All right. Yeah, well,
I actually, looking at my normal algorithm, I actually would have taken it the other way. I would have taken Iowa over Northwestern. But I feel like because Northwestern it seems like something is starting to click over there, and they've got a lot more enthusiasm than what we're seeing in Iowa. So I thought, let's go for it, Northwestern.
Yeah, well, every week, here's what happens in the West. Every week, someone who is in contention for the West Division Championship loses, and then makes everyone else back in contention for the West Championship. And this is the game that I think is going to happen with that. And Northwestern's on a little, I think, maybe they figured something out, So I'm going to take Northwestern too, 17-12.
Ooh, very nice.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you everybody for watching. Mac, take us out.
This is Big Ten Team Rivalry.
Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend watching football. Have fun watching football. Remember, #make football fun again. If you like what you saw, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. This is Big Ten Team Rivalry.